7:45 p.m. on Monday, June 24, 2024. Again, documentation was referenced today regarding June 24th, 2022, where I am maintaining documentation as I remain in an entirely distinct region. And that was in Chino. I went from Ontario, California, which is how I'm capturing the alleged sun that's under no circumstances going to be seen outside of the leasing office window at Alvarado Gardens at the same time or at any time, okay? Because on this day in 2022, there was no sun that ever left my presence, meaning never left from being over the top of my head, which is where it's at as a matter of documentation on this day in 2022 at 8:38. And I'm showing you while I'm nowhere near Andy's Burgers inside of this shopping plaza in 2024 on the same day, and I get it all the way even down to the same time, and I'm showing you what is under all circumstances impossible to be the sun, the natural environment. The fact that the sun is engaged in an outright departure from anything remotely close to what it was engaging in, maintaining this presence over me for the duration of the day in an entirely different region. Okay, but it is in conformity to the pattern of conduct, a fake sun, a light source that is in plain sight. That which is not naturally occurring is occurring in plain sight, such that it is never questioned. It's never even suspected. You're not even paying attention to it. But this is documentation of what is demonic activity. In the same way that you could see this light source visible over the top of this car. It's not in some position whereby, I'm just mistaking the depth, the appearance of the sun. It just looks like it's right over Shower's Liquor, but it's actually seen at a distance because it's the sun and it's so gargantuous. And I'm making up a word there on purpose because that is implausible and unreasonable and patently ridiculous. The sun is directly over me where I'm located, which is why you see the light activity directly resulting from where the sun is. The shadow of the vehicles on the sidewalk, right where you see the engineered light hitting, it's falling right above my head. It's directly over me, which is, you can clearly see that through the documentation. In addition to that, I've shown you the ongoing ability to capture what is no mistaking that light source that's not somewhere in the same position visible through my leasing office in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens facing the direction east, where it remains over me at that same leasing office location after 5 p.m. And I'm still on that property inside of my apartment at the same address, the same apartment complex, and the light source, which is not the sun. As a matter of fact, that's a legal conclusion, a logical one, a scientific one. The sun is not at the same address, and at no point could that be the sun that I documented on this day in 2022 either. The entity maintained the light source, keeping me under surveillance, group stalking me, that is, while I am in an entirely different region, showing the light source that's in alignment to me while I am standing in front of third-party group stalker Omnitrans at 6:39 p.m. But when I'm inside of my apartment here at after 6 p.m., I'm capturing the light source that's remaining over me while I am inside of the same apartment complex where I stood this morning. And Center for Better Life is group stalking in this parking lot, parked in these handicapped spots, and the fake sun is over me at 8 o'clock in the morning. This is where the fake sun remains. And this isn't even sunlight. This is the direct evidence of federal group stalking and monitoring. I have broken down how the whole system operates, and those who are present in this environment are group stalking and they're demon possessed. And it's the government. It's not those individuals. They are an entity, and they are in the shoes vicariously engaging in criminal surveillance with the government, who is demon possessed, engaging in demonic activity with that population. It's federal group stalking and monitoring, and this is nowhere near the Omnitrans bus at the same time in Chino, California, while it's through my bedroom window, the same apartment where I captured the sunrise this morning. Okay, that's first of all impossible on its face. Second of all, it's not shared with the environment that's around me, surrounding me, right over me, in other words. But this is the pattern of keeping it in alignment with me. Speaking to what is the center of the universe by a bunch of demon-possessed group stalkers, that's the pattern of conduct. That's not the natural environment. The unnatural environment where the entity is maintaining the elements of engineered light and is also stalking by the state in helicopters, in particular in California. That's the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. And the maintenance of that light source while I am in an entirely different region in Chino, California, looking at Omnitrans and the fake sun is in perfect alignment with me, that's the P.O.C. That's speaking to what is also the unnatural environment. And this is the identification of group stalking. And this license plate is documented because of the criminal conduct that they are, beyond a reasonable doubt, established as engaging in. And it's occurring in that unnatural environment where the entity entity is stalking and pursuing, engaging in surveillance, stalking by the state in helicopters and police, fire, and ambulance vehicles, which is widely indicated through the use of sirens. The entity is engaged in ongoing, heavily documented harassment by entities, stalking and sirens, which is indicated because everywhere that I go, the entity is sounding sirens in the specific environment, while the entity also engages in a pattern of stalking that is following in the specific environment. That's how you're identifying it. This is, first of all, it's stalking on its face in helicopters. Everywhere I'm going, a helicopter is flying over my head. In addition to that, it's even more specific. This stalking and helicopter conduct is happening while a fake sun remains over my head all day long. This stalking is occurring while the entity is maintaining light that's not even indicative of what sunlight naturally does. This very peculiar environment is where the entity is stalking in helicopters. And it's occurring in an environment in a manner where it cannot possibly be shared with another environment that is already documented on the record, where, by the way, the entity was engaging in the same pattern of following, pursuing in helicopters. It's the state's pattern of conduct. And I'm documenting the people of the state. Let me be clear. This third party is the same entity that Jong Kim represents, the people of the state. What Jong Kim is documented engaging in is a phenomenon, and that's what I'm capturing on my phone. While the entity is group stalking, the entity is engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. And while I am on my phone, just like you see, and I'm doing a screen recording for the benefit of the world to witness, the demons that are keeping me under surveillance are also at the same time aware of everything that I'm looking at on my phone. This is how you engage in the demonic pattern in the demonic environment of stalking with audible activities, stalking with light activities, stalking with presence. A demon will come out of nowhere, including in a helicopter, to maintain the elements of monitoring. And also, just like animals who bark when they're hostile or hiss as a hostile cat, an animal, the demon possessed also exhibit hostility while they engage in the elements of monitoring with simultaneity to their knowledge of what it is that you're documenting about them. So the entity is indeed, like I stated in my past video, the entity is communicating a threat, engaging in what is federal stalking conduct, while I am reviewing evidence that I'm preparing to capture on my phone. The fact that Jong Kim is a demon-possessed group stalker, a violent sex offender, by virtue of the manner in which she's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring on behalf of a government, on behalf and in concert with the people of the state, which is, again, the entity engaging in a sex offense together, where you have one or all of the demon-possessed entity engaging in the criminal act. You have all of them engaging in that criminal act. That's the nature of group stalking. And that's also how you're going to prosecute what the demon-possessed population sought to get away with maliciously against an American citizen. So you're going to prosecute the demons as the team that they are. The entity maintains this engineer light, keeping me under surveillance on the venue of the internet, while this demon is group stalking Jong Kim of 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 5. And my capturing the phenomenon, first of all, the video at the above is captured today, June 24, 2024, at 2:03 in the afternoon. I am at this same property, like I documented, inside of the same bedroom, looking out the same bedroom window. On the bottom, this video is captured on June 21st, 2024. This is directly relevant to what I documented on this day, June 24th, 2022, and every other day. The analysis that I have provided is speaking to an ongoing documentation and exposure of an unnatural environment. So you're talking about time of year analysis. Even there are multiple ways and ongoing ways that you can document and witness what is the scientific impossibility, what is the evidence of demon possession, what is the evidence of the reality of Satan, those who want to deny it, and the presence, the personification of Satan, who uses an environment to engage in its conduct in concert with a bunch of demon-possessed people who are engaging in what shall be prosecuted and exposed criminal conduct by the state. And every single last one of them are demon-possessed. And that's why they're maintaining presence and I literally mirroring identical behavior, speaking to their demon possession. You have a multiplicity of faces in the same spirit of Satan. That's how you have identical behavioral patterns amongst a population. And that population happens to be in the government. That's how you get psychotic stalking in helicopters. That's how you get demon possession by chief of police such as Dominic Choi. That's how you get demon possession by corrupt political leaders such as Karen Bass. That's how you have a statewide system amongst a population. The government actors, the courts, those sitting on the bench, they're not ignorant. They're engaging in it. That's how you have that massive, wide demon possession, demonic conduct that's underway by a government, a corrupt government. That's how you get that. What I have documented, what I've exposed, that's how you get to this point, because everyone is of the same exact condition. There is no exception. First of all. Second of all, this is what the entity is doing, stalking by helicopter. And while the entity wants to engage in ongoing acts of terrorism, it is my job, it's my duty, and it's my pleasure to make sure that it's vividly clear who is going to be directly impacted by the criminal conduct that the entity engages in together. I am in the midst on my phone while the entity is keeping me under surveillance on the venue of the internet in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2, documenting Jong Kim, who is going to federal prison. And while Jong Kim is threatening my life, group stalking with the state that engages in the criminal elements of monitoring, sounding helicopter activity was simultaneity to my documenting her via a communication device. While she is group stalking and by also living at a crime scene, she's going to federal prison for more than one reason. And it's also directly relevant for purposes of enhancement to her time in federal prison regarding charges and sentencing. And let me be clear, when I'm referencing Jong Kim, this is a personalized shout out to that demon-possessed terrorist who is no longer welcome in this country. She's going to be prosecuted, she's going to federal prison, and then she's going to be deported. And if her son, Sean Kim is his name. If he is not a natural born citizen, he too will go to the country of origin, which I believe is Korea, after he goes to federal prison with his mommy. They're both going to federal prison. All right. So I want to make sure I speak to that because this is who the entity is threatening my life on behalf of them. And let me be clear, they represent the whole entity. This is a pattern that the demon possessed who stalk in helicopters, they do on an ongoing basis. This is routine, repeated, systematic, threatening conduct, terrorizing conduct while you are documenting the whole population. Do you understand? This is why I have such heavily documented stalking in helicopters. Not only because they're diaper-wearing, demon-possessed, obsessive group stalkers, but because the entity is engaged in an ongoing posing of a threat to my life while I'm documenting the population of demons that are acting in concert on a ceaseless basis. They're doing both. They're both group stalking, and then they engage in more group stalking because I'm documenting them group stalking. Those are the psychopaths stalking in helicopters, the state, which Dominic Choi, his corrupt leadership, he is manning the ship under what is the ongoing terrorist organization. And he knows exactly, he has the same condition. And so you're talking about what is permanent removal. Demon-possessed chief of police will no longer be employed with any law enforcement agency. And Dominic Choi is going to be the neon blinking sign, the signal shown across the nation and in the world, what's not going to be tolerated. Okay? And that's terrorism by corrupt law enforcement agencies who want to engage in terrorizing American citizens. The entity is doing so, flying over me while I'm documenting Jong Kim of 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 5. And the significance of what I'm capturing now, this is the video that I was reviewing. Jong Kim is group stalking, doing the exact same thing that she was doing as I captured the impossibility. First of all, there's not possibly any sun in Chino, California, as I'm documenting on this day in 2022, June 24th, 2022. At the same time, while it's remaining over Alvarado Gardens, which you already know on its face is not the sun. And then you're also the multiple ways you're prosecuting and identifying the demon possession and the criminal system is the juxtaposition of the crime scenes. I'm in Chino, California, and the light source is remaining over me. I'm now in Los Angeles. There's no sun that's going to be over an apartment complex, let alone for the duration of the day, or at the same time in its zenith, remaining even setting, which is what I'm showing at the bottom of the screen as I documented June 21st, 2024, which remains directly relevant to what I documented on June 24th, 2022, and what I documented today, June 24th, 2024. What I documented, by the way, April 29, 2022 is directly relevant to what happened today in June 24, 2024, because you're documenting what is the unnatural environment. Time of year analysis, time of day analysis applies. And then when you're getting beyond what is the farce regarding the operation of the natural environment, which doesn't apply because these demons are stalking in plain sight, Satan is present amongst the population, Satan is personified, he's present through the unnatural environment, you're recognizing what is literally an illusion, this daylight savings time nonsense. It's not even the natural environment. I am literally capturing evidence of what is stationary, stagnated presence of that's not the sun. So then you are understanding at federal prosecution, when reality rains down, there is no, as I have done, I have conformed to the rules that we apply, but it actually doesn't apply because this isn't even the natural environment. But this evidence remains scientifically relevant, scientifically beneficial. So I am right at this point. We can conform to those rules because they don't apply. They don't even apply. Even in applying them, you will never get beyond the scientific impossibility that the sun is present over me at one address for 12 hours in the day. The sun is remaining present over me for the duration of the day and in an entirely different region in the same manner, in the same position. You will never reconcile that. It's impossible. It is demon possession on its face. It's the federal group stalking and monitoring the system on its face. All right, so the entity is engaging in this while the entity that's group stalking, that's demon possessed, they're practicing massive surveillance on the venue of the internet in violation of Title 18 as well. And this is how you have the stalking with activity behavior by demons who are sitting right now, hovering all around, ready to engage in flying over in an audible manner in order to communicate a threat, because they're stalking 24/7. So the demons are just going out of their way to sound helicopter activity, which is no distraction to me. I am a master multitasker at prosecuting the demon possessed. The entity is sounding helicopter activity while it knows exactly what it is that I'm reviewing on my phone and preparing to capture in a screen recording. And so to piggyback off of that, it's directly relevant to how long Joan Kim and the rest of the people of the state who live at Alvarado Gardens are going to federal prison. Because what I capture on video is ongoing demonic pacing, which is terrorism, while engineered lights all across my ceiling, on the walls, and on the floor. Speaking to what has nothing to do with sunlight, that's the direct evidence of federal group stalking and monitoring. What that is: directed light, engineered light, which is not the result of a sun that's over the Chino Branch Library or over the bus Omnitrans when I am at the same time in an entirely different region. It is mutually exclusive. It is absurdly criminalizing. Okay, so the entity is engaging in this, and I want to speak to what Joan Kim is being documented engaging in. And while the entity is threatening my life, stalking in a helicopter, this is directly relevant to why you're disbanding terrorist organizations like the LAPD, and also why the people of the state, such as Joan Kim, are going to federal prison. Violent sex offenders, the same. LAPD, sex offenders. The state is a sex offender, and so are the people of the state who are in the shoes of the state. You have stepped out of any protections under the Constitution. You're in the shoes of the state, and that's known through the specific environment and the stalking conduct in that specific environment by the state. You are maliciously acting in concert with that state, and you have you have stripped yourself of exercising any privacy rights. They don't exist. All right, and that's just breaking down that whole criminal system where the government is maliciously targeting an American citizen with that population in that specific environment, pursuant to an identical and demonic pattern of conduct. So that's prefacing what I'm capturing. So I want to document Joan Kim I'm inside of the same apartment. The above is today at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and below is what I captured, and this is the video that I'm referencing inside of this video that I documented today at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's going to disrupt my quiet enjoyment. Anything that has going to create any sort of sensational activity while I engage in change of conduct on my website. So while I'm on Amazon.com, while I'm going through perusing on my phone on the internet, these demons are engaging in federal stalking. They're all going to federal prison for that as well. And because they are still to date right now engaging in that criminal conduct, it's directly relevant to how long they're sitting in federal prison. The people of the state are engaging in terrorism. They're sex offenders engaging with in this lawlessness with the government with absolute abandon. They are unhinged. They are psychotic, and they are violent sex offenders, keeping an American citizen in a demonic environment. And with regard to what is the condition that is also legally relevant, and this demon who is documented, I will remind you about this demon doing the exact same thing. She's dusting off her vehicle cover, stalking in the path, knowing exactly what I'm doing inside of my apartment because she's demon possessed. And you also know that she's a demon because that which is not the sun is still in alignment with me after 6 p.m. And I have multiple shadows appearing in my bedroom at this time, and this demon shaking that cover on her car. She's group stalking with all the people that were helping her. Silverview townhomes, including TEC, the people of the state driving up and down Alvarado. This is Joan Kim, who is engaging in what is literally the elements of monitoring is what you're paying attention to. Not the fact that the entity will do things such as holding a grocery bag, such as holding a baby, pushing a stroller, carrying a box, driving in and reversing it. Oh, and I can't get it right. I got to pull forward again because I'm trying to make sure that I can park directly. None of the demons know how to drive. They're engaging in pacing, and they're doing so in the engineered light. And the entity is doing this. She represents the entity. This is Joan Kim, who's a terrorist. She's group stalking me while wanting to appear consumed with some other activity. It's the pattern of conduct, and you know that, and you're also aware of what is a mental illness that the demon-possessed population would like to also keep a secret. The windshields of the demons who are parked on this property. That's not the sun that will be at the same location. Are you persuaded by a demon that's doing what? She's pacing around, and she knows exactly that I'm in my window. She knows everything that I'm stating right now while demons are monitoring with her driving. So first of all, you can see the light source that's seen through the windshield of this vehicle. It's right above my head while I am outside of my bedroom window. The fake sun moves to remain over the front of the apartment. This is the very unintelligent illusion. It's a delusion by Satan. The only one who's deceived by it. Nobody that is listening to me and is witnessing the P.O.C. is deceived by it, okay? This is a delusional, demon-possessed entity. No one is deceived by this. This is under no circumstance. It's not even intelligent or intricate It's not sophisticated. It's just demonic. Okay. The light source you can see directly through the windshield of the vehicle where I am facing the bedroom window side of my apartment. What the entity typically does is engages in the pattern of keeping the fake sun while I'm inside of the apartment, outside of the living room side of the apartment, the living room window portion of the apartment outside of my front door, as though that's going to be the sun for 6-7 hours. And then it takes that long to get to, it takes less than 30 minutes to get to the back side of my apartment. And then suddenly it's hovering over the outside of this window, this bedroom window. The entity is doing that before schedule because the fake sun remains over me everywhere that I'm going. It just stays over the top of the apartment window. It stays in a manner where I cannot capture it in video. That's what it's doing. Because that's why you have, when I am at the at the inside of this building, like I captured last week on Friday, June 21st, 2024, and I'm on the third floor at apartment 1816, number 5. The fake sun is directly over my head while I'm on the third floor of this apartment building that I'm facing. Again, as you see at the bottom, this building, apartment 1818 and 1816, the fake sun is in the same position over the top of my head while I am standing at that apartment building on Friday, June 21st, 2024. It's in the same position. This is how you get a fake sun, because the entity keeps it in alignment with my face at the beginning and the end of the day, and it's over the top of my head for the duration of the day. That's how you get that. But if you pay attention, it's non-movement, and it's just going from being directly over the top of my head to being in alignment with essentially my face. That's all the entity is doing, and it's non-movement, and it's unintelligent. And all you have to do is document it so that people that have no idea, can't even fathom in their mind how you would have this scientific impossibility. I'm documenting it in order to break that unintelligent system of stalking and a demonic method, revealing demon possession by that population in that environment, and the ongoing concerted and in sync behavior of the demon possessed in that environment. It's very deliberate. It's intentional. They act with real-time knowledge. Okay, it is hovering, massive, obsessive surveillance. So this is Joan Kim, who I'm documenting, and since the entity went out of its way to stalk in a helicopter to communicate a threat to me, threatening my life, while Joan Kim has no basis, has no right to even be in this country engaging in terrorism, and you've been granted the privilege to be here. This is why I'm going to the extent of creating a video recording of a group stalker, a terrorist who's going to face serious time in federal prison, and then she and her son, if he's not a natural born citizen, are going to be on the first thing smoking out of this country after they sit in federal prison. That's what you get for engaging in terrorism in the U.S. with a corrupt government. I'll prosecute the government. I will remove them from the roles that they sit in right now, expose them for every aspect of the criminal conduct that they are engaging in and facilitating, use them as an example as to why those like them are unfit and disqualified, so it is now understood and recognizable what they look like and what they behave like. The entity is engaging in what is the creation of an example to hone in on Joan Kim, who is a terrorist who's awaiting deportation after federal prison. So that's what the entity wants to communicate as a threat to my life. And so that's why she's getting this extended video for evidence used against her, which is evidence against the people of the state, because Joan Kim represents the people of the state. This is what the people of the state are always doing, threatening your life while you are enforcing your rights, stalking with a corrupt government that engages in the absurdly psychotic conduct of stalking someone in helicopters, like you are going to drop bombs, like you have nothing else more purposeful or important to do. Why am I the center of your universe? You are an entire psychopath because of that. Just on its face, you're a psychopath. You are mentally unstable. You're deranged. Okay? And yes, it is very likely that they are actually wearing diapers, because that's how mentally sick they are to engage in stalking someone. And then you seek to do it secretly. You seek to try to obstruct justice, to try to silence that person. That's speaking to levels of psychotic malice that a federal court needs to recognize is underway here. And yes, it is justice is a part of the consequences for engaging and serving Satan, for engaging in criminal conduct against an innocent person, an American citizen at that, who you have no basis under any circumstances in the natural or in the spirit, approaching under any circumstances to engage in this criminal conduct. And that's why Joan Kim is getting this personalized version of her federal prosecution. So at the top, this is 2:03 p.m. So let me show you as I walk through my apartment, and that which is, you can see the light source through the windshield of the vehicle in this parking lot. You can see it through the windshields of the vehicles while I am outside of my outside of my bedroom window. While Joan Kim is group stalking, pacing all around her vehicle, the demons are helping her driving up and down Alvarado and driving onto the property of Silverview. They're pacing all together. And this is the light source that you can see through those vehicle windshields. And this is at 2:03 in the afternoon. When I walk back toward my front door, and that's only because I don't have a door to see the sky space from my bedroom window. So as I walk through my apartment, back to the front of my apartment and out my front door, which is where I captured the sunrise this morning. That is not anywhere near at Andy's Burgers at 8:30 in the morning. This is the light source that's still in the same position at 2:03 in the afternoon, which is where Joan Kim is group stalking, and the fake sun moves from the front of the apartment to the back of the apartment to be in a position in the same way that you see at the bottom of the screen after 6 o'clock in the evening. The fake sun is it's in the same location. It's just now in the video in the evening, it's going from a position of being in its zenith at the top of my head to being in a position over me, in alignment with my face. Okay, that's what the entity is doing. And this demon, Joan Kim, is group stalking in the video below, doing the exact same thing while stalking in the path, wanting to appear consumed as you're doing something else. This is the passive aggressive, very highly passive aggressive conduct, which is very disturbing. This is relevant to what you're going to prosecute for, because an entity is engaging in psychological torture while targeting someone, and doing so while keeping your back to them, and they are in every way focused, obsessed with you. And that is showing through the demon possessed. That focus, that obsession is shown through the demonic environment. That obsession, that focus on you is shown through their behavioral patterns. That obsession, that focus on you, that stalking behavior is shown through the engineered light that coexists their basic ordinary functions, such as driving a car, which will never result in sunlight ricocheting off of cars or sunlight appearing on your ceiling, which is occurring inside of my apartment as I documented at 2:03, and I was referencing the still images right before 2 o'clock when I started capturing video at 2:03. The entity had engineer light in the same way that you'll see in the video on the bottom. The engineer light is on my ceiling. The moment I capture video, the engineer light disappears. That's demonic. That's how you know what Joan Kim's condition is. That's how you know her mental illness is one of being a psychotic stalker, because she wants to appear as though she's doing something else, and she's clearly group stalking. All right, so the entity is engaging in what is an ongoing pattern of conduct, doing so with malice, while the entity is stalking me in helicopters today as I am capturing this footage of her, and doing so, threatening my life in doing so. Let me be clear, it's not the demons alone of the LAPD that are threatening my life. The people of the state threaten your life while they are monitoring you, group stalking you with that state. The entity seeks to engage in and practice a system where they thought, however, under ordinary circumstances, they thought that they could threaten you, say hi to your face, and the entity will fly circles over the top of your head in a helicopter, tormenting, targeting, torturing you, harassing you, and no one's ever going to hear about it. No one's ever going to believe you, and no one's even going to listen to you because everyone acts oblivious to it. That's the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. That's what the entity intends. So I'm breaking that whole system down, and every aspect of that criminal system is going to be used against that entity, and also simultaneously exposing what is necessarily a part of your federal prosecution, your demented mind state. It immediately and necessarily comes into question for being a group stalker based on your criminal pattern of conduct. You are a psychopath, and you're a demon-possessed one. While medication cannot touch on what's wrong in the depths of your soul, therapy and you have mental examinations, which are going to be helpful, and it's going to be required with regard to treatment and rehabilitation, with regard to the threat that you pose as a demon-possessed group stalker, engaging in criminal conduct, which needs to be put under control. Okay, you don't let lawless beasts just roam the streets, which is what the people of the state are right now. They're ticking time bombs, and they're engaging in this criminal system in the shoes of the state, while they are masquerading as a normal society in America, in the USA. And it's everything but that. Okay, so the entity is group stalking at the bottom of the screen, and that's what I'm capturing. Again, this is at 6. The light source is over my head. This is the same. It might as well, in other words, be on the same day, because that's what the significance of what I'm capturing. What the sun is doing on Monday, the sun is going to do on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. What the entity is doing when it's caught, in other words, with its pants down, if you will, the demonic just continue to engage in what is impossible under all circumstances. Because you are engaging in what is evidence of showing you're nothing but a determined psychopath who is demon possessed, that's going to be prosecuted and relevant for the enhancement to your federal charges. It will never make that a natural environment, the fact that the fake sun is over me for 12 hours in the day. Okay, so this is speaking to what is impunity, in other words. That's how it's referred to legally. Impunity and malice. That never becomes a natural environment because the demonic is underway on an ongoing basis. All right, so this is the light source. After 6 p.m. and Joan Kim is doing the exact same thing, committing a sex offense in concert with the people of the state who are helping her engage in the elements of monitoring, showing her mental illness, the fact that she is unfit to be free, and also unfit to even be in this country, and that's why she's going to be deported, her and her son, if he was not born in the USA. All right. You can clearly see, first of all, this is clearly the unnatural environment where group stalking is underway, not the natural environment. This is the same parking lot where the light source is present. While I'm literally at the same address, 10 o'clock, I'm at the sidewalk documenting the light source. Outside of my living room window, the light source is over me at 6:30 in the morning. It is over 12 hours ago. It's 6:53 p.m. And the light source is nowhere near the Arrowhead Regional. All right, so in the video above at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the light source is seen through the windshields of the vehicles parked at the same property at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This video is captured at essentially 7 o'clock in the evening. That is stationary presence, the movement, and also directly rebutting the absurd contention that someone would claim, oh, it's a misperception of depth. Oh, it's actually over Chino. It's possible that it's over a Chino Branch library. It just appears because it's the sun, and the sun is so massive, and you're suggesting with the impossible that the sun is maintaining stationary presence and that it's everywhere over everyone in the same position, the same angle for the duration of the day. That's ridiculous. Okay. And I want to be clear, anyone that's speaking that would contend that with a straight face, I want to let you know you're dealing with a spirit. I am revealing what is the presence of Satan, and I'm revealing demon possession. And only that spirit is going to contend in such an absurd manner as well. I'm letting you know this is the reality. You're dealing with a spirit when you hear something as ridiculous as that. But with regard to what's scientifically impossible, this is impossible that the sun would be seen through the windshield. While it's over Chino, it's not seen over any windshield at the property of Alvarado Gardens. And the sun is also not going to be in any position for the duration of the day from 2 o'clock in the afternoon, seen over the windshields of the vehicles, while it's directly over the top of my head as I'm at my apartment. Also, let me be clear, while it is at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, and you can see it through the windshields of the vehicle, it's still at the same position as well. Okay, and that is a scientific impossibility that I have conclusive evidence showing and proving that that's the case. That's how you're getting to the mouse, the psychopath that's group stalking you, that wants to look like they're doing something else. And it also doesn't help that the demons that are stalking in helicopters are present in that unnatural environment, group stalking on directly. It tells on the people of the state. Not that I need it, because I'm prosecuting both angles, every angle of the system, as they demonstrate their demon possession and their criminal engagement in the elements of monitoring unilaterally. And then you're understanding how that whole system works together on a cyclical, ceaseless, repeated basis. All right, this is the light center. It's seen through the window shields of these vehicles parked at the same apartment complex, the same apartment that I'm inside of, where the sunrise was captured, and Christopher On was group stalking in the path, just like this demon is doing the exact same thing, maintaining light activity by shaking this, and she's going to federal prison. That's the demon that is Joan Kim, who was engaging in the same conduct that Christopher On was, maintaining strategic placement in the path, and a demon that's moving around in engineered light under a light source that's not even the sun. This is exhibiting what is the mental illness by the demon possessed, the psychopaths who are obsessively group stalking you and desperately seeking to maintain an appearance of normalcy as though they're doing anything other than that. The unnatural environment defies nature, and it defies that unsuccessful and unpersuasive appearance. This is demonic pacing and light activity while she's shaking something around, maintaining presence in the path. That's a demon that's stalking in the path. It's not just the unnatural environment. In addition, it's where the entity is stalking me in helicopters. So while I'm pulling up this evidence on my phone, the demons that are sitting around keeping me under surveillance 24 hours a day, wearing diapers and doing so, they don't ever take a bathroom break. Those demons are obsessed, and they are sounding helicopter activity. Oh, she's going to document Joan Kim. Let's fly over in helicopter right now. That's the simple mindset of a bunch of demons who are fully defeated. Both regard to their condition, they need deliverance from the Lord Jesus Christ, the only one who can deliver them. Creating the psychopaths that they are, engaging in what is shameful, despicable, criminal activity while they're currently holding the roles that they are disqualified to maintain. I will be plucking them out of those positions and exposing them to the furthest extent and prosecuting them. The entity is also doing so while they are telling on Joan Kim stalking me in a helicopter as I am on my phone documenting her. That's also a big hint that you're a group stalker. All right, so this is what the evidence that I was capturing, and this is occurring in the specific environment. This is relevant to what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet, and this is just exposing the entity that thinks that it will, as a pattern of conduct, threaten and terrorize and harass and intimidate as an entity while you are enforcing your rights against a sex offender that's a government. The government is a sex offender. The government is a stalker. The government is practicing demonic activity. All right, and engages in that pattern of conduct, which is telling on everyone. So the details of who's documented, the demon possessed come onto the property. They're pacing on Silverview. That whole property is going to be prosecuted for state terrorism. All of them, all 35 units, they're filled with terrorists. And they're all going to be prosecuted, and they continuously exhibit impunity. They're not driving in and out, I'm going to the grocery store. Oh, I'm just now getting. No, they're group stalking while you're looking at the engineer light on my ceiling and the fake sun over me, while engineer light and the entity is stalking by helicopter. All of the hallmarks are present. This is ongoing state surveillance, and this is the groundwork for what is a massive prosecution by a population. The P.O.C. has captured a percentage of the population in California, and every single last one of them are going to be prosecuted as the terrorists that they are. All right, it is currently 8:20 p.m. It's Monday, June 24, 2024, and this is P.O.C.